No one's identifying, did someone write that joke for Chris? Who wrote it?
Well, you know what?
Instantly when it happens, you checked on your daughter? Are you guys checking on Chris Rock? Like, is someone in his ear? Like, how does that work?
Well, it was an assault at that point. So there's legal ramifications. So that played itself out in that way. You know what I mean? Like I said, when I said all of a sudden it was above my pay grade, it was above my pay grade. So, you know, I was there in support to finish out the show and then go from there. And that's the other weird thing about the Oscars is, you know, you're there where the Oscars are held. And then after it's over and done, there's a party upstairs. You know what I mean? Like the first, like you basically, you know, I'm holding my daughter's train of her dress. We're taking an escalator up to a party and we're still like shook. You know what I mean? We're still like, yo, what just happened? You know what I'm saying? Like it was surreal, dude. It was a surreal moment in time. As you know, as weird as it is for everyone to experience it in their own individual ways, it was even weirder to be there and to be an integral part in the creative process.
Yeah. And then my last question I have to ask, but because it seems like there's like an oath amongst the writers. No one's identifying, did someone write that joke for Chris? Who wrote it?
Well, you know what? I'll say this. I don't think it's about the joke. I do feel that to attack the joke is to miss the point. You know what I mean? Like, Chris Rock is a professional. He's a two-time former Oscar host. Will Smith was nominated for Best Actor that night. That should have been both of their finest moments, and it wasn't. And to try and make it about the joke does a disservice to what comedy is, to what we expect comedy to be. Because if you make it about the joke, then you say, hey, you better watch what you say because I have the right to attack you if I don't agree with what you say. And I don't think that that should ever exist in comedy. And when that happened that night, I instantly knew as a 30-year veteran of stand-up that there was going to be a trickle down in the clubs. That because they saw it and they saw it play itself out like that, now when you go to a comedy club, if some drunk dude in the front row doesn't get what you're saying or feels like, you know, you said something offensive to him or you made him feel embarrassed, he's got the right to walk up on stage and attack you. And we saw that happen with Dave Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl. We saw it happen with Affion Crockett on stage. Like, that played itself out. So to me, it's never about the joke. And I think that that's a terrible misconception to attack the joke.
Yeah, I think for the people that more so put an emphasis on the joke is that they just wondered if something else was said, would this have been avoided? Or do you think just maybe, I mean, then this might get into like, you know, he say, she say and pass back.
And I definitely don't want to do that. And that's not why I'm here. I think the purpose of why I was there, like for me, like I said, I guest starred on The Fresh Prince. You know, our kids are friends. You know, I've worked with Will Smith. I wrote on the Kids' Choice Awards for him. You know what I mean? Like, I am entrenched in this game in a bunch of different ways. So I would never profess to walk in someone's shoes and, you know, rule a verdict on what I thought. Like, that's not what it's about to me.
Yeah, it's got to be a tough position to be in, just across the board.
Of course. Like, I think that should have been. I think that night and those Academy Awards should have been a win for everybody that tuned in, but especially for Black people because we were behind the scenes being able to usher in our version of that show.
Yeah. To kind of put a button at the end of this part of our conversation, I started off the question with, the parallels that might have been the experience for you? Did it trigger you at any point when you saw Chris get hit, as being Chris a smaller guy? Did it make you kind of like, oh, like, did it bother you in that way?
You know, you never want to see your hero in a non-heroic sense. You know what I mean? And both those dudes are my heroes to some extent. You know what I'm saying? Like, they both motivated me to see how far I could take my talent in this business. You know what I mean? Like, those dudes are legends. They are game changers. They're icons. You never want to see an icon in a less than iconic moment.